Hey guys, Kilian from Soccer Card Investing. Welcome to a new video here on the channel about soccer card investing, sports cards investing, and for soccer cards specifically. Today we are talking about RB Leipzig, a team that is hated by most and loved by a few, but there's no denial that their scouting is one of the best in the world. So if there's some interesting players on the market right now, RB Leipzig definitely has their eyes on them, and they have proven this over and over again in the last few years that they're actually super strong when it comes to player scouting and really getting their hands on the top players. So I thought it's actually a really, really interesting team to look into for soccer card investing as well, especially because they're continuously qualifying for the Champions League as well, and normally also get through the knockouts, like to the knockout stages, through the group phase and into the knockout stage. So last year, for example, lost against Liverpool and therefore couldn't qualify for the semis. But you never know, right? They are one of those teams that are really in there for a surprise, I would say. And so it definitely makes sense to screen them and see what interesting soccer players they have right now in terms of soccer card investing. And this is my personal opinion, right? I know that many of you are not, I don't agree with RB Leipzig and their philosophy and what they're doing in world soccer. Do I like it? No, I don't. I myself, I'm a fan of a club with more tradition, you could say. Borussia Mönchengladbach, founded in 1900. And since we're a direct competitor in the Bundesliga for the Champions League squads, for the Champions League places, for the starter places, of course, I don't like that they gain much and more power. But you can't deny that they play a fantastic football, and their philosophy is definitely long-term oriented. It's not a pump and dump, kind of oligarch money, and we'll see, like, it's not a toy, right? It's not a toy from some billionaire. It is a billionaire that is behind RB Leipzig. It's Dietrich Mateschitz from the Red Bull company, but they have definitely some serious sports skills in their team as well when it comes to their management and scouting, like I said already. So I think it definitely makes sense to look into them. Because that's not the topic of today's video, right? It's not the topic if I like it or not. This topic today, today we're talking about the interesting soccer players when it comes to sports cards investing, and there are definitely a few. All right, so let's get started. And the first player I would like to introduce you to is Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo, actually, I think he's the player with the highest market value in the whole team, 50 million euros already. The Spanish is only 23 years old, just recently turned 23, came to RB Leipzig from Dinamo Zagreb. I was pretty surprised a couple of days ago. I saw a video of Dani Olmo at a press conference, and he was actually talking in fluent Croatian. Fair enough, he spent there 5.5 years, but Croatian is definitely a language that is hard to learn, and I live in Spain, so I know that sometimes the Spanish, they don't like to learn foreign languages sometimes, or it's a bit hard for them. And this guy really spoke a fluent Croatian. I'm pretty surprised about that. I'm wondering how his German is, actually. I think if you dominate Croatian, it's definitely very possible for you to learn German as well. And in terms of his playing style, you might have seen him in the Euro squad of the Spanish national team. Actually, he got quite some appearances. Unfortunately, I think he didn't score against Switzerland, the penalty, if I'm not mistaken. But what I definitely find super interesting and super amazing about him is his shooting technique. So in terms of his shooting, he definitely somehow reminds me of a young Frank Lampard. You know, they're both playing in a more attacking midfield position, so they're both central midfielder. Dani Olmo maybe a bit more offensive, a bit more in the offense than Frank Lampard. But Frank Lampard, his biggest attribute when he was an active player, Frank Lampard, the English who played for Chelsea a long time and then also Manchester City. His biggest attribute was that he was so dangerous, right, for the opponent, and really scored lots of goals, considering he was just a midfielder. And I have a feeling that Dani Olmo could also transition into a similar role in his future, because he definitely has this kind of shooting technique that is like super deadly from 16 to 20, 25 meters. Extremely good technique when it comes to his shooting. And apart from that, he is not like a super fast player. He's not a player that is extremely skillful. We have another prospect right now that we're talking about that is more, in that kind of skill set. Dani Olmo is more about shooting, so that's why I think he has quite some similarities to Frank Lampard. That's why for me he's a super interesting player. And since you know that player who are on the score sheet lots of times also get much love from the market, I think he's a player you should look into. Then we have Andre Silva. For me, definitely an underrated player. Portugal national team player as well. Last season had an incredible run with Eintracht Frankfurt. I think he scored about 30 times, I would say. Let's quickly check that. Full stats here. So last season he was actually pretty crazily dominating in the league. Of course, Lewandowski was in the first and scored more goals than him. But 28 goals is pretty impressive in only 32 appearances and 8 assists. So this guy is really a goal-scoring machine. Deadly finishing, also super strong with his head. And he now made the move from Eintracht Frankfurt, a bit surprising, to RB Leipzig for a fee of just 23 million. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I think he had some release clause as well, because if you see here, in September 2020, when he made the move from AC Milan to Eintracht Frankfurt, they only paid 3 million, even though he was already worth 24 million. So I think they gave him some kind of release clause there. If a Champions League side would be interested in him and buying him, that he could probably like leave for a fee of 23 million, and probably a nice bonus as well for his agent. But yeah, pretty impressive move, and I'm pretty excited about Andre Silva next season at RB Leipzig. I think he was kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle they had last year, because they had to replace Timo Werner, right, who went to Chelsea. And even though Werner wasn't like super clinical in his finishing at Chelsea, he definitely was at RB Leipzig. So they were missing those kind of goal-scoring qualities last season, and they now definitely have this kind of player in their squad again. So I have high expectations actually on Andre Silva next year. Then we have next up Christopher Nkunku, also super interesting player for me. 43 million market value. He's French. Hasn't played for the first French team yet, but I think he's close. For me, Nkunku is really a player. He came from Paris, also was there in the youth teams as well. But as it happens so often with Paris Saint-Germain, they let the young players go. And so Nkunku was one of them, and he made the move to RB Leipzig and definitely paid off for him. So he's an important piece of the squad at RB Leipzig. Gets lots of playing time, and he is a very skillful player, right? So comparing him to Dani Olmo, for example, I would say Nkunku is not that clinical in his finishing, not really like that dangerous in the box, but he is really strong with the ball. Like his technique is amazing. He is a stylish player, you could say, right? It reminds me a bit maybe about Sancho, not that kind of pace, but definitely speedy as well. So overall, also a very interesting player, and I think he might even have some future in the French national team as well. Next up is Dominik Szoboszlai. So this guy, this was one of the classic moves, right? From RB Salzburg to RB Leipzig for a fee of just 20 million, whereas Man United or any other English team would probably have paid 60 for him. I don't actually know how that is possible. That is the actual, like, the thing that I really hate about RB Leipzig and their whole, like, infrastructure, that they can really benefit from having so many teams, in the different competitions, and therefore get the transfer sometimes really, really cheap. This happened also with Marcel Sabitzer, the RB Leipzig captain. And yeah, Szoboszlai made the move last January, so this winter, for just 20 million. He hasn't actually played yet for RB Leipzig because he was down with an injury and out with an injury the whole second half of the season in the Bundesliga. But he pretty much single-handedly carried his national team, Hungary, to the Euros. Then unfortunately couldn't play, of course, due to his injury, and also had some amazing stats in the Austrian Bundesliga. I think in terms of his playing style, he is a player that has amazing shooting, amazing technique, great on free kicks, for example, as well. He's got some style as well, definitely. And considering he's just 20 years old, he's already like such an important piece in the Hungarian national team, definitely the star player of the team, and so important. And it really seems as if he is already like in a really leading role there as well. And considering he's so young, just 20, he doesn't even look like 20, he looks like 28 or so. I think he's like really premature, and also premature in his time, in his the kind of playing style he has. So looks really responsible. I would have loved to see him already in the German Bundesliga this previous season, but unfortunately wasn't happening. But definitely he's back now in the training. I saw him. So RB Leipzig is already preparing for the next season, of course. And Szoboszlai is back at it again. So I can't wait to see him in the German Bundesliga. And I think he can be crucial as well for RB Leipzig next season. And then last but not least, we have Yosuke Vadoli. I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. He's from Croatia. Guardiol. Kind of sounds like Guardiola, but I know it's not, obviously not even closely related to him. He's from Zagreb, from Croatia. Also just made the move from Dinamo Zagreb, kind of like Dani Olmo, to RB Leipzig. And they paid for this 19-year-old guy a fee of 18.8 million. And that's what I am about to tell you, right? That was what I was talking about before. If RB Leipzig takes this kind of money and puts it in a guy who's a center back and just 19 years old, he definitely is a thing, right? He definitely is some serious prospect, and they have made sure that they have probably watched him since he's 12 or so in the youth teams of Zagreb. So I have actually no clue about the player, can't really tell you much about him. I don't follow specifically the Croatian league, but Dinamo Zagreb definitely is a serious team. He had some international experience as well already in the Europa League, so had 10 appearances there already, Champions League qualification as well. And next season will play with RB Leipzig in the Champions League and Bundesliga, of course. And considering that they just had to let go of Dayot Upamecano, who made the move to Bayern Munich, he might actually prove himself to be a crucial part of the center back or the defenders in general at RB Leipzig. So definitely a player you should look into as well. All right. I hope it was helpful. Wanted to remind you again that I'm hosting a training series on how to create your soccer card portfolio. It's soccer card portfolio blueprint training. I'm hosting that training for free, and I'm giving you basically in a 4-part video series a step-by-step guide on how you can create your very own soccer card portfolio. It's a soccer card portfolio blueprint training, and to sign up for it, you have to sign up for it. It's free, but spots are limited. Go to soccercardinvesting.com/portfolio and you're in. All right. Hope that was helpful for you today. The session was fun for me to stay here with you again, and I see you back here tomorrow.